This is the podcast, not an interview. This is a conversation. No gimmicks, just reasons. 84 reasons. Come holler at me. What up, my good people? I am Ben Troupe, and if you can see my ugly mug, yes, it is time for another installment of 84 Reasons. No games, no gimmicks, just reasons. Every week I sit down with a future, current, or most importantly, the ones that built these walls, former Florida Gator. My next guest. I mean, for those of you, I know everybody talking about this Coach Golden era. It is the golden era, literally and figuratively, at the University of Florida. But there was a gentleman. I was at Florida Winter for a couple of years. People talk about sharp shooting guards. People talk about being able to handle the rock. Floor generals. I remember this. I don't know how many points he averaged in high school, but I know people got sick of him. I got sick of dealing with Teddy. My next guest, Teddy Dupay, former Florida Gator, McDonald's, All-American, won the three-point contest, I think, in the McDonald's All-American game, played with guys like Ronald Curry, Al Harrington, Mike Miller, former Florida Gator, Tayshaun Prince, Quentin Richardson, Rashard Lewis, Richard Jefferson, Corey McGetty, but most importantly, he got the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy, the great Teddy Dupay. What's going on with you today, Teddy?
Oh, what's up, Troop? Thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for coming on. And listen, I got to do my due diligence though. Before, listen, make sure and go to FloridaVictorious.com, type in 84 Reasons in the promo code. Talk about supporting these student athletes. Make sure you put your money where their effort is. That is FloridaVictorious.com, type in 84 Reasons in the promo code. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe this episode. But Teddy, man, first and foremost, you have the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy. That's a lot of young energy. That's a lot. How does one maintain a higher energy, level of energy than them youngsters that be running around out there?
Well, I mean, the most exciting thing is to have so many kids. You know, when people think about coaching, some people are born to coach, and it's a natural progression for a lot of people because you finish playing at that high level with that intensity, the attention to detail every day, the camaraderie. When it's done, there is nowhere else to find it, and people belong around sports. Especially at that highest level. With kids, it's a little bit different because the objective and the goal and the outcome is so much different. Very few of those kids even they want to have a poster, but they'd rather cheer for somebody at a big game and go watch a big game than play in a big game. It terrifies them. They don't want people looking at them. Those kids need what you can learn through sports. Now, everybody wants to be good at basketball, so it's real easy to get their attention. Once we have their attention, we can teach them all the stuff that they should be getting in school, or they should be getting from their parents, or they used to get from their local YMCA coach who really poured in to help the kids, not just their own kid. Everything has changed on a lot of different levels, and it's been changing, and it's been changed for a while. But, if you miss a turn when you're driving, you typically don't realize you're lost for a little while later, and that's where we are right now. Everything's out of whack. People are complaining about the kids. They don't like that everybody's transferring. They hate that our Gator basketball team is so soft and wimpy. They hate it, right? Everybody hates it. But what's the solution? And so that's something else that I'm trying to do right now. It's not totally comfortable, but I want to show people how easy it would be to make some really, really simple fixes. And anybody that's ever played at Florida basketball the way we play Florida basketball sees it crystal clear as well. Very, very easy fix. Everybody wants to help. Nobody wants anybody gone. We want things fixed. We don't care who's there. But I'll tell you this, if I got to convince a coach to play really hard and make the guys play defense and commit to it every single day and recruit like crazy, if I got to convince the coach to do that, then that's not the guy and we'll find somebody else. But we all want him to succeed. We all want to support him. But when you close us out, there's not much else we could do.
When we talk about the former player presence at Florida, obviously, Billy Napier, the head football coach, obviously he's making a huge thing to do it. Coach Golden, I haven't been around him. I don't know if he does or doesn't. But when it comes to that aspect, what do you think keeps a coach from letting the former players come around? Like, or if they do let them come around, like what makes them do it in your opinion, Ted, and what makes them not do it in your opinion?
I'd be guessing why somebody wouldn't. I can't think of a good reason. I can't think of a good reason why somebody wouldn't. I can tell you why all the great programs do, because it's a culture, it's a style of play. Building a team now seems like it'd be harder because kids are transferring or moving, but it's not hard for UConn, who recruits players and dominates with a style of play and executes their stuff and takes on the personality of the coach. It's not hard for them. It's hard for all the other people who just accept that that's the way it is now. Okay. You really need other players around during recruiting. You needed players around the building for the fans. You need players around and people that are part of the culture so that you can continue the tradition. There's no way, like, for instance, when I watch the Torian Green team, Joe Kim, Al, Corey, Lee Humphrey, Chris Richard, Big Spates, when I watch those teams, I feel an enormous sense of pride because they're finishing or continuing what we started. I think that's another thing you talk about kids. When I was a kid, there was so many parents that poured their whole entire life into their kids. Once they had kids, everything of their own dreams stopped. Matter of fact, having a kid was like, oh, there go my dreams, because it was just accepted that you pour into your children when it's your time to do that. Not anymore. Not anymore. A lot of kids are left to fend for themselves, or parents still want to have their own little side gig, or they want to have their own little social media thing. Each and every little thing you do for yourself, you are not given to somebody else. And to me, that's a huge, enormous problem because it takes more than a few years to turn a young boy into a man. You know, they become an adult, they go through puberty, they get face in their hair, they become 18, they can vote, they can be held accountable for their choices. But that's not a man. If I'd have gone to Florida and Billy wouldn't have been all the way up every single day on me, and I wouldn't have had Eddie Shannon kicking my head in practice, if I wouldn't have been fighting and scraping for practice playing time, let alone game playing time, I never would have developed into the type of player that could look at something and be disgusted by it. I'd have been worried about my points. I'd have been standing around. And then after we lost in the first round of the tournament, I'd have been touting my own horn about first team all this or the way we scored points or anything that's not important, because that's the stuff that's been put in my head. I'm a kid. You're 18, you're 19, you're 20, you're a child, and you need coached. You need coached hard. And I don't see that.
The game of basketball, as you mentioned, has definitely changed. You talk about, now if you a top, I don't know, 15 player coming out of high school, everybody knows because of the rules in the NBA, you go to school for 1 year, you go to school for a semester, then you enter the draft, and then you're gonna be a lottery pick. People know who you are because of social media. We've been watching you since you was 13, 14, 15 on the AAU circuits, doing what you're doing. But you keep on using the word that I think needs to be talked about even more, development. You said, look, Billy Donovan was rough, but for a reason. Billy Donovan made sure, look, man, I'm going to ride you in practice so much. And you said, I was trying to get practice reps. Not even everybody wants to play. We get that. The development side, how much does the development side gets hurt? Or how much is that side hurting these players even more? Because even if they said, I don't know, Zion Williamson, right, goes number one, how many years does it take for him to develop? Because now he's already a pro and he's only in college for, I don't know, 3-4 months.
He's one guy. He's one guy. We always had one guy. Kobe was one guy. Garnett was one guy. We had Jermaine O'Neal and Kobe 2 in 1 year. Wow. Rashard Lewis in my class, one guy. There is always, Al Harrington went. There's always one guy, 2 guys, 3 guys that are really, really unique and really special. Not 50, not 100, not 5. They build these kids up and they make them think they're better than they are. And it starts at the very beginning. You take a team you take a AAU tournament. AAU. There's 5 teams in the tournament. 4 are from Tampa. 1 is from Orlando. Some of the kids even know each other. They play a few games against each other, but the smart marketers of the tournament called it nationals. The kids walk away with a trophy and a medal, all tournament team. They believe they've worked hard enough to be a national champion. They tell everybody, they post it on the Instagram, they get this false praise, they get a false insecurity. They start believing they're better than they are. Not only is that a little bit off, it is complete opposite polar spectrum of where they need to be. All right? I'm not saying nothing is ever good enough, but it's not good enough. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So the goal isn't to win a trophy. The goal is big dream. Yeah, we want to win a national championship. We want to win every game we play, but you don't win every game you play. Yeah, we want to make every shot we take, but we don't make every shot we take. Those things are beyond our control. What we control is getting better every single day, being desperate to defend each possession like it's the last. Not on the last possession. If you play that way, the last possession, the walk-ons will get in and the fans will really be into the team. You know, everybody thinks they're so much better than they are, and all these coaches are too soft to just put it to them straight. The kids need coached. Oh, they're going to leave. Well, then don't recruit them in the first place. If you were doing your job, pounding the pavement and recruiting, you'd have guys you want, guys you evaluated, and guys you want. If you poured all the way into them and you lost them at the end, well, everybody's going to transfer. Perfect. You're first in line when they're ready to go. That way we're not taking the scraps. That way we're not taking the guys who are leaving. Who was the worst team in college basketball 2 years ago? I guarantee we have a transfer from their team. I mean, give me a break. You're just taking anybody that walked through the door. We have no recruiting class coming in. I mean, I did look at the 2 recruits that we have. We beat out Stetson and Georgia Southern and FAU. Is that really who we're recruiting against now? Stetson, Florida Southern, and Florida Atlantic? That's the only people? No other offers but the Gators. Then we got some 7'6" kid that they tried to get, but they're not going to get him. I mean, everybody's blowing smoke up his butt. He thinks he's a lottery pick, and maybe he will be. That's why the first teams that pick in the lottery stink every year. The same teams pick first every year, and the same teams stink every year. How does that work? Because you got the same morons running those organizations that you have running a lot of these college programs. They're all they should be getting criticized by the media, but they're not, because they're all in lockstep too. It's the same little dynamic and setup. When we were playing, we were held to the fire by the media. If we did something wrong, we lost a few games, we blew a big lead, we were blown up in the media, and I felt that was the media's job. It wasn't adversarial. That was their job. Heck, half the people don't even know why this guy was hired before anybody in the whole entire Gator Nation have ever heard his name. Go ahead, watch his introductory press conference. I reached out to the players, and they said, hold on, let me read my script, to a man. No, you didn't. You didn't talk to anybody. Nobody's ever even heard of you. You didn't ask us to see if we'd heard about him or knew him. You didn't ask us if any of us had any ties to him through the state of Florida for recruiting. Nobody asked us a question. It was done in the dark of night. So we're like, all right, let's give it a chance. We watched him the first year, and I really gave him the benefit of the doubt. I went to a lot of games. I took kids to field trips and sat in the upper deck. Went back by myself, sit on the midcourt, 50-yard line, at the little new clubhouse thing that is looked really nice. If I had a wedding reception, that's where it'd be. If I was building a program and I wanted an electric gym, I would tear all that stuff out of there and make it exciting in there again. It's too comfortable to go to watch a game and not watch a play and not cheer for anybody. That's what the stadium is now. It's woke, just like everything else, right? They didn't think anything about winning basketball programs. They wanted it to look pretty on the pictures, and it does. It's beautiful. And it's the easiest place for any team to come play in the entire SEC. It's really just so frustrating for me. I watch every single thing that's happening, and nobody's going to make any changes about it. Nobody cares. They're mad at me for bringing it up. Fine by me. Won't be the last time everybody's mad at me, and it won't be the first time I've said something way before everybody else could see it. Kind of like Billy Donovan. Kind of like committing to the program when I'm 16 years old. Having a guy like that say to me before anybody knew anybody, nobody wants to come to Florida. It's not cool. Kind of like it is right now. Just missed on Vince Carter. Just like we didn't even recruit the top 3 players in all of the country are here in Florida. Did we even try? Oh, no, we can't do it. That's a defeatist attitude. You recruit them like crazy. You get them to list Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, and Florida. Then it's marketing, right? Right now, we've signed some kid that comes to Florida, and we got Jacksonville, Florida Atlantic, and Stetson. That's really good for Jacksonville, Florida Atlantic, Stetson. To be competing and recruiting against the Gators, that's what we used to do. Everybody wanted to be on the list because we were out there. It was exciting. We had a culture before we even got to the university. And then when we got there, we followed through, and it wasn't easy. We worked really hard. Kids were always mad. We always hated the coach. That's why we were getting better. You know, you're not supposed to be friends with the coach. You're supposed to get coached by the coach. And through that mutual adversity, through that mutual suffering, you come together, and it's the team against the coach until the end when it's time to celebrate. That's the recipe. Ask any champion. It's not what we're doing. They don't know they're not doing it. They have no idea what they're doing is completely wrong. If they knew the right way to win, they'd be winning. That's why you want championship culture. That's why you want culture guys. That's why when you look down Duke's bench, you see nothing but Duke guys. Right? That's why when you watch a Michigan State team today, they play as just tough and mean, as nasty as they did a couple years ago. And when Tom Izzo, whoever the coach is now, I don't even know if he's still coaching. When he's gone, do you really think they're going to hire somebody Mateen Cleaves can't stand? Are they going to really bring somebody in that has no ties to Michigan and plays a soft game of basketball? No way. That's why they're a blue blood. That's what we want to be. That's what we started 25 years ago, 28 years ago when I committed, and I'm not done trying yet. If the Gators are ready to quit, then we'll start from scratch again, but I'm not ready to quit.
Well, even with that being said, the voice you can hear right now is Teddy Dupay, former Florida Gator, averaged, I think, 40 points in high school at one point, 3,744 career points in high school, 1998 McDonald's All-American, but now saying, look, when it comes to the University of Florida basketball, that is what's near and dear to his heart. What you hear is passion, which is what I love. But I want to do this to you, though, Teddy. Teddy's on the staff. Teddy Dupay, Coach Golden says, Teddy, listen, I'm listening to you. I'm going to put you on my staff. How do you want us to recruit? Because the thing is, as you mentioned, when I got to Florida, and you know how you'll hear players say, man, y'all different than how we were. At first you'll go, man, no. And they'll say, it's your job to get to how we are. Y'all different now. And this is well before, social media and all this other kind of stuff. But you start realizing, look, as great as Coach Spurrier was in his offense, and as great as Danny Warford was, Shane Matthews started it. Shane Matthews started the fun and gun. Billy Donovan teams, you know one thing. Well, listen, what? They can shoot the three, they can defend. And when I say defend, I mean frustrate you defend. Not like Virginia. They're not playing full court press all game. But when Billy say that's it. Might not win the game. But if you don't win the game, it's because, hey man, they just had some shooters that can get out on the perimeter. Teddy Dupay, breaking news, Teddy Dupay has been added to the 2024-2025 roster coaches. And Coach Golden says, all right, Teddy, the one thing I can't say I've ever done is walk through these walls wearing orange and blue as a player. I ain't never done it. I coach. What is Teddy Dupay's approach in the world that we live in today of NIL, one and dones, blowing smoke? What does Teddy Dupay do to the entire staff to say, look, let's try this since we've seen have tried everything else?
Well, they haven't tried anything else. I would never. I don't want to do that. I don't think it'd be good for anybody. I'm not trying to get a coaching job. I have the best job in the world, right? Our academy's the greatest thing in the world. I'm doing what I would do if I made all the money in the world and retired. This is what I would be doing, what I do every day, and I'm not going to change that. For the hypothetical, that you don't need to ask me. They have somebody on that staff that knows a lot of the same stuff I do. Maybe not, some of the intricacies early on, maybe not figuring out some of the things, but Billy grows and gets better. That's why he was the greatest coach. Not because he started as the greatest coach. He made a ton of mistakes. I mean, with timeouts, with the way we recruited players, even with some ways they trained us. I would tell you, those are just popping on my mind. If you ask him, he'd tell you about 1,000 things different he did at the beginning than he did at the end, but he got better, right? We grew, but he built a team. He built a culture. His players had the right stuff in his head. Torian Green's right there on staff. I don't think they've asked his opinion on one thing ever. Some of the little film clips I'm putting up, if you show that to a player one time, I mean, Troupe, you know this. You were a great pass catcher, but you had to block sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure at times you thought your entire job was to catch touchdowns, and maybe you weren't as good of a blocker as you could have been if you weren't getting the ball. And then they get you the ball on purpose, and all of a sudden you can dominate the field in all ways, right? There's a flow to that. But the first time you ever had a coach put the film of you really blowing an assignment up in front of everybody and you just had to watch it, and they said nothing and they rewind it and then they show it, but you knew it was coming, right? Remember that feeling? Never again. All you had to do was see it. If the kids watch the social media stuff I put up, and it's taken me not very long at all, it's right there. You can't see what I put up one time and not make fixes. That means they haven't tried everything. In fact, you know what they haven't tried? Putting these guys on blast, showing them themselves stink. You know what they haven't done? Look right there down the hall at a guy who won back-to-back championships as a point guard in this system. Ask him what he thinks. Right? That's what we want. We want to continue our culture. We want to finish what we started. Our team did press and run. Same defensive rules. We had a full roster. We were loaded. We could practice that way. And even when we had injuries, next man up. We could wear teams down. We did it on purpose. We took pride in playing that way. I would say that's one of the things Coach maybe adjusted. Maybe we don't need that many players, right? But then again, everybody wanted to come play with me. Anybody we recruited came. You know, the year I left, we would have had Kwame Brown. He didn't come. Instead, he went to the #1 pick. But if I'd have been there his senior year, he'd have been there. David Lee, James White, Julius Hodge wanted to come. We didn't have a scholarship. Rashad Anderson went to UConn, won a national championship. He wanted to come. We didn't have a scholarship. Everybody wanted to come. So we were loaded, and we played our style of play, but we just extended it way out farther all the time. That's what we had, our arsenal. They played the same style of play, the same defensive rules, the same attacking type of practice with the Joachim teams that won back-to-back. They just weren't out full court pressing and running because they had their core guys on the floor. They played a different style of step on your throat, right? I've watched now just about everything I can. I haven't found one time in this whole entire season, really the past 2 seasons, where the Gators have played 3 straight solid defensive possessions. Didn't get 3 straight stops. I'm saying where everybody was in position. Everybody pressured the passes. Everybody boxed out assignments like you would get a grade. Troupe, you don't have to miss a block and give up a sack to get a bad grade on a play. Micro possessions. These guys don't do that. Non-existent. All they're worried about is their points. All they're worried about is preseason awards. And, hey, let's let these guys do whatever we want because they're gone next year. So we need another transfer to come take their spot. Who cares if they can win? They need to know that they're going to get to shoot a bunch. They're begging. They're begging. And it's not working. It's not working. The recruiting class we have coming in, if you can even call it that, you know, we're not taking control of our destiny. We're not in control. We're hoping that we get a couple transfers. We're hoping we get a couple people who can't cut it where they are. They want to leave where they are, a losing culture, to come here. That's going to help us regain what we took 2 decades to build. No way. No way. People are living in this fantasy land. Either everything's got to change or we have to change everything. And lucky, you know, my strategy, focus only on defense, recruit offensive players, especially if you're going to put the ball in one person's hand every play and run no ball reversal, then what do you need to work on offense for? Have everybody playing defense. That's all you should be focused on. A defensive team, defensive mindset. It's great for conditioning, you know, and you're going to beat a lot of teams that way. You've got to focus on defense. You've got to recruit the state of Florida. That would start with having some coaches from Florida. You've got to recruit the state of Florida. This way, when you have a couple kids leave or you have a transfer, you miss on a big-time guy, you know you still got 6 or 7 mean dogs. And if we're not going to win this basketball game, we'll drag you in the back afterwards, and we're going to walk out of here with a win. You know, those type of guys. We don't have one. You need a team full of those guys. And then when you bring in guys that are from New Hampshire, Matt Bonner, tough, blue collar. He is not a Miami kid. Mike Miller, South Dakota. He'll be the first to tell you. He got a rude awakening, and if he wouldn't have come in with our bunch, who knows what would have happened to him. The toughness, the attitude towards training, standing your ground when somebody is intentionally trying to run you over. Not because they want to run you over. They want to see if you'll hold your ground, right? He'll tell you, he'll be the first one to tell you. He'll never be the Mike Miller we know had he not come and been around the Miami guys, the Brent Wrights, the Major Parkers, Udonis Haslams. If he wasn't around those guys, he wouldn't be Mike. He'd be a tall, skinny guy, one of the better players from ever South Dakota, but he wouldn't be Mike Miller, the Hall of Famer. I tell you that much. I mean, I'd put Mike in charge of the program. He's got head coaching experience. Put him in charge right now. Let him be the head coach, the interim, like Donald Trump does, the acting head coach, right? He'll sit down and take it for a few years, but he won't take the job because it's such a big commitment. That's the thing. Most of us don't want to do it because we know what big of a commitment it is, right? We got other stuff going on at this point of our life. We do want to help. We'd love some input, but there are Eddie Shannon. He's coaching. That's the guy that went through the rebuild with Billy, right? I might know what our vision and big plan was, but talking about being there during the rebuild, who would know better than Eddie Shannon or Greg Stolt? The only guys that made it through, Mark Tominski, Patrick O'Connor. Ask those guys. Ask them. He won with walk-ons, not a lot, but we won some games, right? They don't ask any of those guys. I'd make one of the guys like a Torian or whoever I don't know who all is in the coaching path right now that's taking that route. But when we look at the Florida Gator coaching bench, it should look like the Duke bench if we want to have results over the course of time like Duke has had. We did for 20 years. In fact, we had better results. More championships, more Final Fours, more conference championships, more 21 seasons, more 31 seasons. We had better than everybody, more pros. I mean, you got to think about it. There was a time our group was so special from our team, my team. 6 straight years in the NBA had a player from our college team as a major contributor. 6 straight years the NBA champion had that, whether it was the Spurs with Bonner, whether it was the Heat, right? It didn't, and then with Mike, it didn't matter. Our culture is about winning, doing whatever it takes to win. Is it pressing? Good. Is it recruiting these types of guys? Good. But everybody was on the same page. The coaches were the same over the years. The same coaches that recruited us are the same coaches that coach us, right? Everybody grew and built on each other, and then everybody was successful because we had a common goal, right? Right now, everybody's moving around so much. Troupe, another example. I had a kid a couple years ago that was terrific. The one coach recruiting him, I thought it was weird the way it was coming off. He wasn't recruiting him to the school, and in a way, he was kind of like tiptoeing in, not really recruiting him, being friends with him, making it about their relationship, because at the end of the day, he thought he was leveling with me. All he was doing is truly revealing his character. He was trying to recruit the kid to keep in his pocket, not to go to the school, but in case he got canned or needed to get a new job someplace, he might have a little bargaining chip with his foot in the door with this kid. Like, how dishonest is that? How ridiculous is that? You know, you're inching a kid along. You're screwing over the school you're working for. You're certainly not preaching a team culture to the kid, even if you do get him. How's it going to help the team win? Everything is out of whack, but that's why the opportunity is so big. We don't need everybody to be good. The more soft and stinky the kids get, the easier it is to win. Look at UConn. The more soft and fragile the AAU makes these kids, the easier it is to pinpoint the kids who play hard. How could be playing hard? How could being a dog actually be a skill? It was an absolute prerequisite. If you didn't bring it every day, you weren't even considered. You'd lose your practice jersey, right? You wouldn't even get to practice. Now, if a kid does that, it's like being an elite shooter. You know, the key to the NBA, you got to be elite at something, an elite rebounder, an elite playmaker, an elite shooter, or you got to hustle. Come on, man. This is a huge opportunity to stand out. We could run through college basketball. It wouldn't take long. The players are there. We don't need a bunch of them. We need a team of them. And you get these kids together, you build a common vision, you recruit like crazy from the very beginning. And if we came up with some strategic plan, like put a Mike in charge short term, put a guy like UD in a brand new role. There's all these new roles. Make him the president of our organization. That's not something he wants to do. He wants to own a sports team. You know what? Get some experience while you're building back what we already built once. Why not? Get Eddie Shannon on the staff. Get Scotty Wilbekin around, right? We need these guys around the program, and I'm sure plenty of them would step in. So you'd have a lineup of Gators, right? You'd have everybody that wouldn't want to coach, like myself, jumping in, not just to help the program, but now to help our teammates. That's a whole different type of help. It takes a village. It doesn't take a village. It takes the people we already have in this program to wrap our arms around it and build it together. But I have no enthusiasm for what we're doing right now because the product on the court is weak and pathetic. It's not the kids. It's the coaching.
He is Teddy Dupay, keeping it 100 on 84 Reasons. No games, no gimmicks, just reason. What's the reason for the day? Teddy D, I wanna highlight something before we get out of here. Though you've been talking about coaches. You said UD can build again, but we already built once. The history of Florida basketball. Obviously, them back to back championships got built in them, 99s, 2000s. Like that's where it got built. People talk about Urban Meyer winning the championship in '06. Well, it got built in '03. That's when Chris Leak got there, my senior year, his freshman year.
Yep.
Culture to me is the hardest thing to build and maintain. It is hard to build a culture. But Florida don't got to build a culture that has been built. The problem is you can't ride off a culture that you didn't build. You can't ride off with it. What is going to be harder for us, you think, Teddy D? Understanding the history of what Florida basketball is or trying to rebuild the culture of Florida basketball?
It's going to be the same thing that this entire country has to do. You got to say enough is enough. Watch the press conference of when they hired this guy. They tell you what the process was. When you listen to what the process was, you'll understand two things: why we stink, why we got the wrong person, okay? Number two, why nobody heard about what was happening, why they did it in the dark of night. No explanation why Mike White kept getting contract extensions, and no explanation why this guy has gotten a contract extension. It seems so fishy, and the results don't lie. You understand? All these Gator fans, they know what is put in front of their face, like most people do with the TV. People are waking up to that, but they watch one or two little Gator channels who are, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those Gator channels have somebody sitting right in the UAA manning them, right? I don't want the entire portrayal of our program done by a little intern, right? We don't have any. I tried to find a Gator writing on our recruiting for basketball right now. There's stuff for the football. It should be marketed down my throat, right? I'm an eager watcher. I want to know the news. It should be given to me. I can't even find anything on Gator recruiting. Try. Google it. Brave it. You ChatGPT it. See if you can find any update on what's happening in Gator basketball recruiting right now. There's none. There's none. You're going to have a hard time finding it. Maybe we're just doing a bad job promoting the program in that way to the fans and to the alumni. Maybe that's why they don't know the culture of the program. But it's a big joke. It's a big joke. It's really disappointing. But the good news, it's not hard to fix. It ain't hard to fix. Just like that. I could walk up to LA Fitness right now and guard 4 strangers, and within 2 possessions, we'll be playing better defense than the Gators. I don't want to coach. You don't need me to coach, right? They don't need me. I don't want that. I'm not trying to put myself there. I'm not promoting myself. I have nothing to sell. Unless you have a kid that wants to come to a summer camp. You want a kid that wants to come play in one of our Bible leagues. You want a kid that wants to come learn how to shoot and do layups and dribble with both hands. If you want that, I do have something for you. It's incredible. But I have nothing else I want from anybody. I want the Gators to finish what I committed my whole life to. I committed as a 16-year-old sophomore, Troupe. I was a McDonald's All-American. I set the all-time scoring record in Florida. It still stands. I was a McDonald's All-American, Parade All-American, Gatorade Player of the Year. It was a big, big deal for me to go to Florida, period. But for me to commit as a 10th grader, because coach said nobody wants to come here. It's not cool. If you do it, it will be cool. I like that. I can be one more guy at Duke, or I could be the very first guy at Florida. I like that. Building something bigger than myself. When I did that, it wasn't so we could be great at Florida. It was 6 years later. Because remember, 10th grade, right? I started recruiting guys. Udonis wasn't highly rated. Major wasn't highly rated. Brent Wright wasn't highly rated. Those are the guys we got first, right? We went after real players, not high rankings, not who was available, who was not desperate for a place to play. We went after the guys we wanted, and we built. Same thing can happen now. It does take time, but unfortunately, this guy has already wasted 2 years. The first year, like I said, I went, took kids a game, sat in the high rows. Then I sat on the half court at the UConn game at home. And that's before I was like, hey, that team is really good. They run their stuff in warmups. They practice so hard. You could watch the two teams warm up and you could tell the body language. That team was good. That team's no good. Now, obviously, nobody would have known that good, but it's crystal clear. You can see it. The eyeball check, we don't pass. Okay. Then I went to a game and I sat on the floor. It was here in Tampa. Anytime something's here in Tampa, the arenas, they're great with me. They always give me stuff because I take so many kids to everything else they do. Field trips everywhere. I sat on the floor, saw the same things. No, they played Ohio. The energy, nobody's back. Nobody sprints back. Just because the other team doesn't push it and expose what they do doesn't mean they didn't do it wrong. They do it wrong every time. It's so frustrating to watch it because there is a quick fix and we're going in the wrong direction, right? There are people that could help. Unfortunately, why aren't they on staff, right? Why are you asking me? Like, not you, I understand why, but why is a couple things that I see on social media such a big deal? Why do I have people from the university trying to contact my dad? Ask Teddy to stop.
Because you Teddy D.
But if I can make a social media post or two and it makes this big of a deal, then why wouldn't you ask me in the first place?
Well. I think the thing is too. Sometimes, I mean, and not all former Gators can say something that's gonna. Teddy Dupay say something, yeah, it's gonna matter because number one, full transparency, it's coming from a genuine place. It's not coming. Criticism is only criticism when I don't know what I'm talking about. Like a person that don't know basketball can be critical. You're saying, look, if I'm a boxer, I'm not even looking at it. I'm looking at them from the waist down. I can look at their footwork and tell you who won the fight because I'm a real boxer. I'm not watching the game for entertainment. I'm saying, what are we doing? So when Teddy D says something, it matters because they know you know what you're talking about. They know you know what you're looking at. You're not being critical. You're being honest. And it takes us getting older as men, especially, to understand, man, feedback is feedback, and it's gonna come. I'd rather the feedback come from people that walk through the walls, who knows what it is. No, who knows how hard it is to. It's not enough to practice in the old dome. You want to play in there. You know how hard it is to play in the old dome for Billy. Billy Napier came and spoke to the team one time. Only time he ever came and spoke to the football team. He came in with these rubber bands and he just pulled them apart one by one. He said, by ourselves, we like this. He took all the rubber bands together. He said, he took one of the biggest guys on the team. I want you to pull this apart. And they couldn't. That is y'all. And when I see the individuals, they're going to pull us apart. You put us together. And he said, now mind you, when he first came in there, that's Billy D. We talk a little bit. He said, hey, shut up. Shut up or get out. Commanded the room like that. That Italian came out. Like, hey, I know we all look. And to me, that's what you came from. When you said something that I think stands out, you said, I didn't want to be a guy on Duke. I wanted to be the guy at Florida. Like to me, that's the part that's coming from. You saying, look, man, Florida means something to me. I didn't pick Florida because that's all I had. That's all I wanted. I was the Gatorade player of the year. Great All-American. Still got the most points scored ever in high school basketball in Florida. But when Billy D said, I don't got to lie to you. No one wants to come here. You come, everybody gonna want to come. And you accepted that at 10th grade. So when Teddy Dupay said something on social media, that's what you decided to press in. That's not what you like. Look, that's not what I want to say. By the time I put it in 270 characters, that's what I thought y'all could stomach. Because if I said what I wanted, I'll get banned. They will take my social media down. So let me be the first to say, as a former Gator, I appreciate what you say because criticism comes from the media. That's their job. Former players, man, it's like I brought kids to see this. I've been talking about my alma mater every day when I bring these kids to my academy. Oh, they coming to Tampa? Let's do it. Then I got to explain, sorry, because think about this. You said effort supposed to come, that's supposed to come with the meal. Right? It don't effort gets you, yeah, man, that dude is a dog. Why? Because he gets back on defense. Because he jumps on the ball, jumps on the ground for rebounds, because he takes charges, right? Nowadays, everybody, we got 7-footers that shoot threes. Thank you, Dirk. Love you, Dirk. But the big man is gone. Like, done. Just out of here. Teddy Dupay is saying, do you know how much easier basketball is? They say, who's supposed to be your dogs on defense? Your guards, your backcourt. Your guards are supposed to make people so mad. Why? The smallest guys on the court make the biggest impact. Why? Because they can't jump and say, I'm not a tree. But, and I can shoot. Not, I just want to shoot. Here you go. I don't want to shoot a jumper and watch it. No one follows the shot. No one boxes out. No one shoots free throws. No one takes charges. Yes, like if somebody punches me in my face and I got to come out there with a mask, that's what I bring to the court. I can look a little ugly, you know. That's what Teddy Dupay is saying, look, if we do what no one else wants to do, they don't want to play us. Because think about it. I'm going to let you do that other stuff. Just do this. I know you want to shoot. You're going to shoot. It's Florida. Everybody lives and die by the three. Everybody does. Now, good Lord, everybody will. But you go to Virginia because you want to play D. Or you can't go there. You cannot go to Virginia if you say, I don't play defense, coach. That's all we do. Those are the slowest, most boring games. The final score is going to be 48-36, Virginia, UVA. But guess what? When the boys go to the league, they can also play. What Teddy, to me, is saying, if we do the fundamentals and want to do it, made to do it, and I'm told, hey, listen, you're going to make some NIL money. You're probably not going to play in the pros, but you're going to have an experience here that lasts forever. Meaning, when we used to watch y'all play, we'll go to a game, we'll say, ooh, ooh. Like, it's like this. If somebody beats y'all, I said a slim if somebody beats y'all back with another timeout, Billy D finna. What? Because and this is us understanding how y'all play. Mind you, we didn't realize how many threes y'all still shot. Y'all still shot a lot, but somebody go, Florida got beat. Huh? Somebody beat Florida? Yeah, they must have been. Did somebody get injured? Aaron Kinney, who was at Florida before I got there, Billy Donovan, had to play a little basketball.
It's tough.
He said, I realized real quick. He said, EK, 6'6" in football is tall. 6'6" in basketball, that's a two guard, depending on the team. EK said, he put me in the game. He said, I did my little Hakeem Olajuwon shake. He said, and I turned around, and he said, and that center sent my ball to the stands. And Billy Donovan gave him that Billy D look. Like, did not tell you this ain't. So what I'm saying is, Teddy, keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm gonna tell you why. Truth tellers are not liked. No one wants to hear that. Who wants to hear the truth? My son, he don't mind me saying, he's in high school. And he said, he's going out for the football team. I told him the only way you're going to play, the only way anybody plays, is if the coach can trust you. That's it. If he cannot trust you, your last name could be Dupay, and he could be the coach, and he could love you, and you going to sit the bench. Because at any given time, when they do a snapshot at any school, even in Florida, if somebody watches Florida for 2 minutes, that's the best we got. If somebody watched it, what are they going to see? So Teddy is saying, that ain't. No. This is what you're saying. That's them. That's not me, because I didn't do that. That right there. And guess what? I was a shooter. You were a scorer. You were a full-blown scorer. Like, I score. And Billy D said, but can you defend? What? Because this thing, if I make you a defender, if you score 30 and the guy you score, the guard scored 30, it don't matter what you did. He did what you did. But
True, it goes together, man. It goes together. You don't order a pizza and say, what are you going to do with that pizza? Well, I'm going to chew it up and then I'm going to swallow it. No, you eat the pizza. It's not bad. It's not offense or defense. It's winning.
Talk about it.
Understand? We're trying to win. We're trying to destroy our opponent. Not on the court. It should be taken care of. It's in the preparation. You guys see us go nuts. And that's the thing. Fans start to learn basketball too when they actually ask the coach questions, when they actually know the players and the players give interaction. Then fans want to watch the lead up to the game. They want to watch the follow-up. They want to see what they didn't see as an amateur eye. Not anymore. We give up 12 points in the last 1 minute, and they're talking about the offensive play. It's all out of whack. You got a bunch of non-basketball people choosing a basketball coach. You got a non-Florida Gator running the Florida Gator program. You got a bunch of assistants who have no business in the state of Florida if they can't dominate recruiting, to the point not only with the kids, but if you're a coach in North Carolina or Nebraska or Georgia or Louisiana, you don't waste your time recruiting in this state, because we got it, right? We got it. It's not a matter of we got to play a little offense. I need you to play some defense. It's a team mentality that we're going to do whatever it takes to win. We're not going to hope or rely on shooting good. You're not going to shoot good every night. If you're trying to shoot good to win, you're going to lose sometimes because you can't always shoot good. The good teams will take you out of your stuff, right? It's got to be a commitment to winning from recruiting. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody's got to be going to the same place. What is the vision for the plan? How am I painting a vision for the plan? Unless you're going to follow the same plan that I started, ask Coach Donovan. He didn't have a plan. I had a plan, right? It made sense to go get these other guys. We were loaded in Florida, and I knew the other players really, really well in our class. The Quentin Richardsons, okay? The Eric Barkleys, okay? At this time, look at our McDonald's class. I committed first because I knew we had the Florida guys. Our best team was Florida, but I also knew if I can get guys like Quentin Richardson, you know Q, you can watch him. That guy's an alpha dog. I knew if I could go to Florida and make him feel like it was Florida against Chicago, I knew he'd go to DePaul instead of Kentucky or Duke or load them up. Duke already got Maggette, right? What about Stromile Swift? Well, he stayed at LSU. Even Ray Young stayed at UCLA. So when teams like UCLA have to keep their kids at home, North Carolina recruited Jason Capel real hard. His brother went to Duke. He didn't go because North Carolina kept him home. Everybody at that time was fighting. It was geographic, right? You could rep your state. The kids believed that it mattered where you were playing from, right? Miami kids, you know, if a Miami team is coming to play some Jacksonville team, you know that it's more than this high school versus that high school. You want to represent where you're from. That's how we felt and feel about the Florida program. That's not gone, right? It just needs a spark. It just needs a spark. And we have so many great, great people that could add to the program. It might take a little creativity. It might take a little vision, but if nothing else, let's get people talking about it. I don't mind taking shots. I like it. Actually, in a way, I kind of thrive in it, to be honest with you. So if people are upset with me, but the thing that made me the most upset was when I did speak up, and when I am speaking up, you, players, the people who already see what I'm saying, they agree. Others who maybe just watch the Twitter feed or watch the one article, you know, that the Gator program allows to be put out. They don't read anything else. They don't even know I played there. They don't even know the history of the program. They have no idea about any of this stuff. Yeah, and I wouldn't say that they didn't intentionally bury the past. You would never do that. Why would they ever do that? Why would they do that? It's such a great history we have. So I don't think they intentionally put it under the rug, but that's not the point. They didn't intentionally promote it. They're not intentionally continuing the culture. The university's not intentionally reaching out to build programs and do events and have charity fundraisers and have an annual charity basketball game. They don't do any of that stuff. Major was trying to set it up, but they didn't give Major much help after, you know, they cut him loose. He made a mistake, but they're not going to help Major, right? And unfortunately, he passed away. We miss him, love him so much. But, you know, in that, we should be celebrating this guy. Where was the ceremony for the first real signee for Billy Donovan when he passed away? It was in Miami with our friends, not even a mention. Nothing with the university. Nothing. People that went to our games didn't even know he passed away. It's wrong. That's not how you do it. That starts at the top, right? That starts at the top. And I tell you, a winning culture, you know, it doesn't take much to ruin it, so to speak, even on one team. That's why you need team guys, and that's why you see so many teams get close. You know, it's not that they weren't good enough players. They were missing that one little piece, whatever it was, right? And a lot of times it's just time. The year we lost to Michigan State in the finals, well, the year before we went to the Sweet 16, lost on a non-box out. Oh, we fought hard. Came back the next year with second best team in America all year long. We finished number 2. The year before that, Michigan State finished in that spot. They came back, totally different mindset, ready to finally claim their crown, and they did. And had we come back that next year, full squad, I have to think we'd have been able to use that experience. Watch any NBA documentary. Watch the Bad Boys. Watch how they had to fight and scratch and claw to barely finally get past the Celtics, only to lose to the Lakers in the final, and then they got it. And watch Jordan fight and fight and fight for years. Greatest of all time because he's the winner. For 6, 7, 8 years of his career, he couldn't get past the Pistons. They hated him. I lived in Flint. The Bad Boys were my team. I remember watching him come up. When you see people cry on the trophy, they're not celebrating. That's what fans see. It's not a party where we're popping bottles. That's not what that is. It's relief because they put everything in. They took the total, complete risk, jumped, hoping the net would appear. And then when it does, it is such relief because other people out of the locker room took that same commitment. That's what makes sports such a weird thing. It doesn't take a big commitment to make a decision to get straight A's. If a kid wants straight A's, there's not a limited amount of straight A's. You want straight A's? There's a recipe for that. Cut out the BS, go to sleep on time, make sure you're eating properly, listen in class, study, get your A. Every class, if you want an A. It takes no risk to make that goal. To be a champion, to be a part of a team where the only way you succeed individually is if the team succeeds as a team. You need everybody going to the same place, but it's a mutual understanding for mutual benefit. You understand? If you're not working towards that together, nobody's going to get where they need to get to individually. And it's a coach's job to help explain that, paint that picture, show that vision, and help people understand that those small sacrifices or enormous sacrifices that you're making are for the team. But that's why some people don't go for it in sports. I'm a great example. A guy who gave everything. Had a shoulder surgery in my sophomore year. Played the whole year with a torn rotator cuff. Negligence. The next year, I had the back surgery. I hurt my back, and they were treating me for my knee. So half the season, I was treated for my knee pain. Then I sneezed one day getting taped, and it hurt. And the trainer was like, "Oh no, maybe it's not your knee. It was my back." So if you ever had that shooting back pain, I had it for a whole season playing in the SEC. Miserable until one day I couldn't take it anymore, and I was done. I had surgery the next day. Career probably over. Little person, definitely the season. Are you kidding me? Back surgery? Oh, we lost 4 or 5. We're 1-4 now in the SEC. We went from the number 1 or 2 team in America to 1-4. What was the reaction? Hey, little 5'9" guy, can you play? Well, of course I can. I'll never tell you no. So then I play the whole rest of the season with a back surgery? 20 days after back surgery? Some people don't start physical therapy until after that. But I did it. I made huge sacrifice. It was worth it. It was for the team. It was for the program. At my own peril, I would give everything I had to the program. And I don't want praise for giving everything. I want you to know the commitment we made to each other. That's why we won. It's not the plays. It's not the analytics. It is the defense, but that comes from commitment. You'll never learn to play defense without that commitment first. Definitely not every play in practice. Definitely not when it's uncomfortable. Definitely not when you're on the road and your back's against the wall. Definitely not when you're shooting poorly, if that's what your character is. You have to be taught that. You have to be coached to put away that selfish, childish, normal human stuff, and you have to be coached to be part of a team. If it's just a coach doing it, it's impossible. But if it's 1, 2, maybe 3 new players in with a staff that knows what to do, terminology is the same, how we guard each screen, what our base rules are, what the drills are, how we prepare, what our plays are so we don't have to learn somebody else's. We had every play in the book. We never ran any of them. That way when we did recruiting or we did scouting, we didn't have to go through they run this to this. They run our America's play. Hey, this situation is like this is like our fist on the counter. We knew our stuff so well. That's how we could scout. That's how we win in the NCAA tournament because there's winning games like we're not doing. Last year we lost to who at home? Who did we lose to? Florida Atlantic? Was that the game? Or Central Florida? Who else have we been losing to that's a joke? Too often. But that's because you let luck come into play and you don't put them away. You let them hang around. You let them believe. Recruit players who we're considering there. And then that's what you get. So we're losing those games visibly. Right? We're losing in recruiting. And we're losing in the tournament. You got to make some fixes. Right? Pretty simple, right?
No, you listen. I will say this, Teddy. The reason why I do this is one, I want to be able to have, chop it up, former Gators like yourself. But two, sometimes fans, current players, future players, former players, we get to see just what Florida meant to you, just what Florida means to you. Because everybody's not going to have the same passion, even if we played at Florida or not. But you letting people know, look, I am the part. I might not look the part. I'm not the biggest guy. Never been the biggest guy, right? I am the part. Somebody asked you 20 days after back surgery, do you want to play? Because they knew you were going to say yeah. Just ask him. Because why? Well, if we tell him to play, that's one thing. If we ask him, can you play? Yeah, let's do it. That's after a rotator cuff playing all year. And now you saying, look, it is a quick fix, but you got to want to do it. Commitment commitment is something you don't bargain with. I committed to this. That's when that's when the feeling has passed. I'm still doing this. And like you said, don't let luck come into play, put them away. We don't do that. Can a team get lucky? Yep. Do a team have lucky shots? Yep. But if I don't let luck come into play and I put them away, that's a mentality. The one thing Teddy Dupay had, even to this day, is a mentality. I don't accept mediocre. I don't accept average. I don't accept okay. I don't accept all right. I accept what I can control. When I'm out there on that floor, that's what I can control. But that's kind of what I can control. Before I get out there on that floor, that preparation. Jason Williams, and I'm gonna let you get out of here. Jay Williams, that went to Duke. He said I was playing against Kobe one time, and I get to the arena, and Kobe's working out. So I go in there and I get my workout in. Now, mind you, I don't even know how long Kobe was working out before I got there. When I get done working out and I'm going to the shower, I still hear the ball bouncing. Kobe is still working out. After that, Kobe goes and gives us like 40. After the game, I say, Kobe, why'd you work out so long? He said, because I saw you come in. When I saw you come in, I said, oh, no. He said, because if I let you see me walk out of that gym, you thinking, oh, he don't want, He said, so you telling me, he said, if you would have worked out up until game time, I would have worked out up until game time. I would have went out there. I would have still did what I did. He said, because I don't make bargains. I said, Chris Bosh says, when they did the Redeem team, he said, man, we went out one night. He said, but my goal was, I'm going to beat Kobe to the court the next day. I get there. I get on the court early. Kobe's coming off the court. He got the ice on his knees. He said, Kobe say, whether in the States or abroad, I don't make bargains. What I hear Teddy Dupay say, look, as long as the University of Florida basketball is willing to bargain, we're going to get far less than what we bargained for. It's never going to be what we want, because the thing about settling means you're going to settle at the bottom. He is Teddy Dupay. All-time scorer leader, high school basketball, 3,744, parade All-American, McDonald's All-American, player of the year. But listen, was the guy, not one of the guys. If you looking for somebody to coddle you, to lie to you, make it sound fly to you, don't call Teddy. But if you want to know the truth, not because I'm trying to hurt your feelings, because I listen, love is truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth, Teddy. I appreciate you because you just gave every Florida Gator listener, lover, hater a history lesson of there's never going to be a Billy Donovan player that came under him that's going to mince words. You ever heard UD talk? Do he mince words? 20 years from Miami, 20 years, missed the day. Oh, and for people that say, well, what did UD do with Miami? All-time leading rebounder, more than Alonzo Mourning. Stop playing with me. Oh, champion, though. Mike Miller, South Dakota. Listen, you know what South Dakota is? Yeah, below North Dakota, which means you don't know what the hell it is. Don't nobody know what South Dakota is. He came down to Florida because of Teddy D. Teddy, never ever stop being who you are, sir, because I think sometimes in life, we think that we need to stop being who we are because we be pissing people off. Well, that's their problem. Hey, listen, man, I don't know if I can say it, but I'm going to say it. My granddad used to say, listen, better to be pissed off than pissed on. Tough Teddy for the kitty, but the milk's still good. Teddy, ladies and gentlemen, he is Teddy Dupay. I am Ben Troupe. This is 84 Reasons. No games, no gimmicks, just reason. But if you need a reason, he's in Tampa, Florida. It's called the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy. If you got a young man or a young lady who want to learn the game of basketball, and they're gonna have that nice stroke at the end, They're gonna learn life lessons on the hard court through a 5'9" that has a 7'7" Wembley type presence, not because he want to, but because he had to. He had to survive out there with the trees. Only thing I never seen Teddy Dupay do was dunk, and if I did, I would have it on my phone to say, "Hey, to you 5'9" dunkers out there, Teddy Dupay said I did. Steph don't dunk.
I'll send you the film. I'll send you the film.
Teddy, man, listen, stay healthy out there, man. I will definitely get in contact because I'm gonna tell my daughter about your camps this summer. Might have to see a troop in Tampa. You know, the female version, running around trying to make some plays.
Yeah, this is our ninth annual all girls camp. We'll be doing our 10th annual one in West Florida at my old high school. But yeah, this will be our 10th year in business for the academy, and we're thousands and thousands and thousands of kids. So it's a lot of fun. You know, you hear here, this is me talking about winning basketball, Florida basketball, but the way you win on the big stage is all these little things. That's how you win in basketball, but you got to get the right people there. It's the same recipe for winning in everything. If somebody checked out our stuff, they would see it's not about the scoreboard for the kids. It's about developing the winning habits on purpose. It's about believing that if you prepare to be a winner, you'll be a winner. If you hope it happens, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Don't let luck come into play. So all the important stuff and teaching kids how to be their own person and how to speak up if something needs to be said. Because I think we all want that. Nobody likes a loudmouth or a blabber or a complainer. But at the same time, we got enough doormats in this country. I'm doing my part every single day for as many hundreds and thousands of kids as I can to teach them the stuff that they need to survive in the real world and to thrive if they stick with it. So it is bigger than basketball. And that's why I'm not coaching a basketball team, even at the University of Florida or an NBA or anywhere. I'm teaching the same exact stuff I'd be teaching, the best of the best, and we'd win. It's the only guaranteed way to win. 100%. Nobody would doubt it. It's just would the university do it? Probably not, because they don't have the balls, right? I'm not woke. They wouldn't hire me, right? They don't want that around. They want somebody that's controllable and will say whatever they say or not say when they say it. So I wouldn't want the job, and I doubt they'd even want me. But I didn't take the job. You know, I'm doing what I'm doing here in the state of Florida. I was the first player to commit to Florida, to Billy Donovan. I set the records. We dominated while I was there. We set the culture. And now I'm working on a grassroots level with tens of thousands of kids and coaches across the state. So, when we really boil it down to it, Florida basketball is bigger than the University of Florida. That's where we went. So we love them. We got the orange and blue even on our TDBA gear. But this is about the game of basketball in Florida and moving the game forward. And there's no way we can do that with these 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids unless they pray to someday play for the Gators. Right now, it's like it was before I got there. And got to fix it.
If anybody need him, he will be in Tampa, Florida, coaching the next up, whether male or female, getting them ready for the next level of life on the hardwood. He is Teddy Dupay. I am Ben Troupe. This is 84 Reasons. If you ain't with it, hey man, get lost. Cause listen, listen, don't hate the player, hate the coaching staff. They don't want to put him in the game. And we out of here.